under siege.
I will place economic stability and confidence.
To condemn this act and call for the immediate release of this minister in the temple of God.
Give us access to our money we put in the bank.
The POS operator, she said 50,000 naira is 1,000 to collect 3,000 naira. Where are we heading to?
I've always said there are two sets of people on earth, the oppressors and the oppressed. And in between are the cowards and the hypocrites. Which are you?
No matter how tough the challenge, how high the obstacles, we always overcome.
What Nigerians need now is not about the taunting. Who can come and salvage us from where we are?
People. Mr. President, my people are under siege.
I will place economic stability and confidence.
To condemn this act and call for the immediate release of this minister in the temple of God.
Give us access to our money we put in the bank.
The POS operator, she said 50,000 naira is 1,000 to collect 3,000 naira. Where are we heading to?
I've always said there are two sets of people on earth, the oppressors and the oppressed. And in between are the cowards and the hypocrites. Which are you?
No matter how tough the challenge, how high the obstacles, we always overcome.
What Nigerians need now is not about the taunting. Who can come and salvage us from where we are?
Representing people. Mr. President, my people are under siege.
I will place economic stability and confidence.
To condemn this act and call for the immediate release of this minister in the temple of God.
Give us access to our money we put in the bank.
The POS operator, she said 50,000 naira is 1,000 to collect 3,000 naira. Where are we heading to?
I've always said there are two sets of people on earth, the oppressors and the oppressed. And in between are the cowards and the hypocrites. Which are you?
No matter how tough the challenge, how high the obstacles, we always overcome.
What Nigerians need now is not about the taunting. Who can come and salvage us from where we are?
representing people. Mr. President, my people are under siege.
I will place economic stability and confidence.
To condemn this act and call for the immediate release of this minister in the Temple of Justice.
Give us access to our money we put in the bank.
POS operator, she said 3,000 rice, 1,000 to collect 3,000.
The oppressed. And in between are the cowards and the hypocrites, which I am.
No matter how tough the challenge, how high the obstacles, we always overcome.
What Nigerians need now is not about the taunting. Who can come and salvage us from where we are?
All right, welcome back to ATN's Open Conversation. Now, let's get on with the first conversation on inter-party crisis amongst the APC. If you thought the issues were done, then maybe we're all mistaken. Now, the All Progressive Congress members in the North Central geopolitical zone cautions President Tinubu against what they described as attempts to shortchange the zone in the choice of APC national chairman. Now, recall that following the resignation of the former national chairman, Senator Abdullahi Adamu from Nasarawa State, North Central Nigeria, an attempt by the president and the APC governors from the forum to impose the immediate governor of Kano State, Abdullahi Ganduje, on the party as Adamu's replacement. However, the APC North Central Progressive Forum said if Osun State is allowed to replace the ex-white national secretary, Senator Iyola Omisore, who is from the state, the same legal right must be extended to Nasarawa State or at least any other state in the North Central. The convener of the forum, Comrade Ahmed Suleiman, in a statement on Sunday in Abuja, said it was deeply surprising and disappointing to see how some stakeholders from North Central are busy endorsing or celebrating the unjustifiable deliberate plan to shortchange and undermine the interests of the North Central zone of APC and the zone at large. He said after all the collective efforts made by the zone to help the party win elections 3 consecutive times by constantly giving votes despite the heterogeneous nature of the zone due to tribes, ethnicities, and religions, constant shortchanging has been the thank you gift to the zone for being faithful and supportive to the party. Well, we wish to remind you, sir, the group said, if this injustice of shortchanging is allowed to continue, it will be a total disregard and betrayal of our collective sacrifices, support and loyalty as a zone, which have played in the last 8 years and wish to continue playing to the party and the government. We therefore call on the President, His Excellency Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, who has tasted the bitterness of injustice and the joy and benefit of fairness and justice in his political history, to please help to put a stop to this dangerous political misrepresentation and avoid any unforeseen crisis in the party. And they said finally, for those who are busy endorsing injustice to our collective sense of belonging and interest, please permit me to speak to your conscience that you should remember the injustice you are supporting and celebrating today because of any self-serving interest may come after you or your zone somehow someday. Yeah, I feel like pitying them. But let's have the conversation. So now, this contest about who replaces Abdullahi Adamu seems to be taking a different turn. From emotional blackmail to political blackmail to the president being copiously silent over who he really endorses and all of that. There's Al Makura somewhere where that professor, the primate of Ayodele, had said he should be the one, otherwise they're going to experience more crisis, because he told them to take Al Makura, then they refused. So now Tinubu going for Abdullahi, whose name was also missing at the ministerial list anyway. But bring all of this together now. Let's look at it. What is the big deal in having Abdullahi Ganduje, for instance, being the APC national chairman? What is so wrong in terms of quality delivery? Is it just about zone and ethnic interests?
Thank you very much. Good morning once again. As we speak, I am quite sure that the scenario we face today, especially in governance, is not what is expected or what was expected. Currently, our problem is not just about politics. Our problem is about governance, our leaders. Our leadership has become a major setback in our democratic system. As we speak today, APC have lacked administrative plans or strategy, and it has become a very serious problem that is also affecting our democracy as we speak. Our leaders do not care about governance after politics. We were thinking that after politics, the next thing we are going to have is governance. But unfortunately, the kind of situation we have in Nigeria to Nigeria system of politics is they just concentrate on politics, politics, and politics. I thought maybe after rounding up the election that came up on February, that what we should be looking at is how do we place Nigeria at this point? And not after the political issue, we are now having internal party issue that is now taking over the entire country. Why would the internal situation or internal affair of APC become a major problem in Nigeria? When we have the right of the people that are being deprived, we have governance that has not been looked into, we have people that are suffering, there is hardship everywhere, and that doesn't bother the APC government, that doesn't bother the Tinubu-led administration. What is concerned about the Tinubu-led administration right now is just about internal party affairs, and that becomes the number one point of the day. I think we Nigerians are very disappointed. Those of us that come from the community level, we are very disappointed considering the fact that we were looking at a situation where a party will carefully look at the antecedents of what they have been doing before. Nobody wanted APC again. We never wanted APC to come back, or never wanted APC to become a ruling party because of how they have failed. Not even the PDP that was wanted. We needed a fresh political party to experience something different. But unfortunately, the system of government we have in Nigeria does not give us the opportunity to break a new system. And that's why someone will sit back and consider internal party affair to be more than governance. Look at Tinubu today. When Adamu was the national chairman of APC, I think at this point I want to give some level of regard to Adamu, because he's actually resigned or stepped back, and he's not fighting the former chairman John Oyegu. John Oyegu, that was the former chairman of APC. If you look at his antecedents today, you don't see him come out to play politics again. Our political leaders today are just after the power. They are not after what they are giving out to Nigerians. They are just after what they want to get for their system. And that is giving us a total setback. Because if they were looking at today, what they are doing at APC is a strategy for 2027. You are not done with this current administration. You've not even started with the current administration. You've not even ignited the system. You've not even started the process. But you are planning 2027. How can you be planning 2027 from 2023? This is 2023 you got into power. And you are planning 2027 from 2023. It becomes a major problem. Because they are not thinking of how they can make the people of Nigeria feel the impact or the positive impact of a successful or responsible system of government. If they care about the people, they won't be making internal party affair to become the number one priority when we are talking about fuel subsidy removal. LSC that we are looking forward, if they are going to disappoint us again like they disappointed us before, from this protest they are looking at. Because LSC disappointed us before, and now we don't have hope again in them, because the current protest they are planning, I don't have hope in them, because I know what we prepared and I know how we prepared. I know how we plan to be part of the last protest that was failed. So LSC does not even give us we don't even have confidence in LSC. Now, as we speak, Adamu was there. They fought him because there was this passive intention or passive mind that he never supported the Tinubu-led administration to come into power. They fought him until they take him out of the office. Now you are talking about the North Central. If we are looking at the North Central, if you are thinking about political issues, I'm not a member of APC, and I cannot actually say much about the internal affairs of APC, but what I am looking at is how it affects me at the community level. That's why I am concerned, and that's why I'm discussing it. Because APC is a failed political party. And I can say it anywhere that it is a failed political party as well as PDP, a failed political party. And that's why I was very disappointed when APC has failed and PDP want to take over. No, we don't want APC. We don't want to hear anything about APC again. There's nothing good coming out of APC. Not even the current president. You're not expecting anything good from Tinubu, because from the beginning, it has actually come up with a policy that was not timely. You came up with a policy that you know that is going to affect the well-meaning Nigerians, or affect 2 million Nigerians, 200 million Nigerians, and you still do not care about it. So I think we need the tribunal, the judiciary, to do something better. At this point, we just have hope in the judiciary, because what is happening in APC is just to make us understand that there is nothing good that will come out from APC and the APC-led administration. What we want is that the judiciary, Nigerians are looking up to the judiciary. Nigeria shown that there was no leadership, there was no administrative structure before APC took over from the former APC. It's not really okay at all. So if you ask me again, I will tell you that we don't want anything about APC again. We are tired of APC. Should give us the best administration that is expected, because we are disappointed in APC. We are very disappointed in APC.
You know why I'm laughing with this? You're disappointed with APC, but APC is the power ruling party right now. What are we going to do?
No, APC at this moment, we can call it a ruling party. And that's why we are saying that the election petition tribunal sitting in Abuja should try to give us justice. Because just like Tinubu have said, that he has also threatened the nation. Not only threatening the nation, he has also threatened the election petition tribunal. He has threatened the judiciary. He has reduced the judiciary to nothing. Why I say he has reduced the judiciary to nothing is because, one, a president that is a current president telling Nigerians that if anything is done to his election or to his position, there will be anarchy. You told us before that it is your turn, and that was the only strategy you used to become Nigeria's next president. That it was your turn to become Nigeria's next president. Okay. That as if that wasn't enough. You come up again to tell the judiciary and Nigerians that if anything happens to your position or your office, that there will be anarchy in Nigeria. And the judiciary are hearing it and they are keeping quiet. Meanwhile, there's an election petition tribunal. How many billions has been released for settlement of judiciary principals? How many billions? How many billions has been released? So why will you influence a sitting election petition tribunal? If anything happens and Nigerians do not get justice, we'll place the blame on the judiciary.
How do you know? I understand your anger, and I think that's like what I would now say. There are angry Nigerians, but how do you know that the president actually released billions for election for the judiciary?
The information I just gave is not a secret information. It is obvious that President Muhammadu Buhari, Bola Tinubu, have actually released an amount of money from the oil fuel subsidy removal that has been saved for 1 month. Have been distributed already. They have distributed the money.
Are this information in the news or they are grapevine information? How do we take this?
Now, the fuel subsidy removal, as we speak today, has for the past 1 month or how many weeks now that this fuel subsidy was removed. What has happened to the money that was saved for the purpose of the fuel subsidy?
Well, okay. Let me see what will happen. Let me just stop you here. The president is going to have a live broadcast 7 p.m. Let's see if he will address that. Let me welcome Professor Vincent Welly. Good to have you on the ATN Open Conversation.
Thank you very much.
So, APC stakeholders are saying that any attempt to misrepresent the North Central is a dangerous move that may see
the North Central is strategically located in terms of the population and their voting strength, and so they can say that to the president, knowing the number of votes that came from the North Central. They had said that they have been playing this strategic role in various elections and all of that, they wouldn't like the president to misrepresent them. Of course, they have a case. If you have a voting strength that away from the sitting president, trying to appoint the next chairman of the party, you know, and he's a sitting president, and of course he knows the powers of a party national chairman. And for you to say that he should not intervene, there's no way he will not. But whatever it is, he should go back home and liaise with this group of people, and so that they will have a consensus candidate that will protect the interests of the North Central and also protect the interests of the ruling party and him as a sitting president. That is just the advice.
It's very critical because fighting the wars, we don't know how that is. National Association of Sea Dogs Sahara DEC over the weekend in Abuja on the theme National Reconciliation and Unity, Imperative for Collective Action. The former Chief Imam of National Assembly Legislative Quarters Mosque and Chairman of Islamic Research and Dawah Foundation, Sheikh Mohammed Nuru Khalid, said Politicians have proven to be a major source of problems in this country by playing the ethnic and religious cards during election campaigns. Khalid said, we need to cease using religion and ethnicity as tools in our campaigns and instead focus on common issues. Khalid proposed the establishment of a Truth and Reconciliation Commission to address political injustice and economic inequality and stressed the need for these institutional reforms. Well, on his part, NAOB, the country director for Action Aid Nigeria, highlighted the need for patriotism over concern over the high unemployment rate among Nigerian youths. And it said the Nigerian youth population constitutes approximately 62% of the total population, and unemployment rates are alarmingly high. She said our capacity to overcome ethnic divisions and tribalism will indubitably shape our success in erecting a truly united and prosperous nation, one that stands as a beacon of hope and inspiration for generations to come. But there was another stakeholder also, Dr. Garba Bari, Director General of the National Orientation Agency. He said, I commend the National Association of CDOTs for taking the initiative to organize this gathering, as it demonstrates your commitment to promoting national unity and reconciliation. He said, as Nigeria grapples with myriads of challenges, these stakeholders, among others, have underscored the need for collective action and unity to prevent a crisis situation similar to Niger Republic. All right, I'll come to you, Oscar, but let me start from you here, Prof. How alarming do you feel looking at Nigeria where it is right now? The crisis you heard of in Adamawa over the weekend, the governor had to put a 24-hour curfew because people literally were going to warehouses to loot whatever, cut away whatever was there. In fact, NEMA in Kaduna State had to ask security agencies to guard their warehouses. How alarming. If you look at the southeast, what is going on, I look at the insecurity in the core north and all of this, and look at the president struggling with his party, struggling with the tribunal, with the Niger Republic issue going on right now. Would you think that the National Orientation Agency boss have a point in saying politicians need to be careful so we don't have a Niger Republic in Nigeria?
Yeah, very, very seriously. I take that comment very seriously because even before now, the situation is set, you know, for military intervention. I'm not sure that what caused other coup in Nigeria, you know, the extent of what happened then, that what is happening now is beyond what happened then when those military intervened. But that is not the best anyway. But they must be very, very careful the way politicians are going. They have set us so backward. The problem of this country is the politicians. Look at what we're suffering now. If decisions were taken at the right time when they ought to be taken, we will not be where we are now. Everybody is suffering. There's hunger in the land. Now, how will you blame the youths who went to break where the food storage and all that started cutting away? People are hungry. People cannot even move from their house to school anymore or to work anymore. How do you want them to survive? There's nothing the government is doing up till now. Workers are grooming. They say the NLC is talking about protests. I think let that protest come. Let that protest come, because Nigeria is sitting on a keg of gunpowder. Anything can happen anytime if politicians do not heed to this warning. They have so divided this country along political lines. They have so divided this country along ethnic lines. They have so divided this country along religious lines. But at the end of the day, what they want is their personal interests. They want political power so that they can get economic power. Those who have economic power want political power to gain more influence over the affairs of this country and to go to enrich themselves at the detriment of the poor Nigerians. Of course, I so much love the theme for this protest. It became obvious that let's stop this thing.
Yeah.
Now, and if Goodluck would have stopped this thing dead and come up with better economic blueprints, by now we would have maybe refineries that be refining locally. Because I see it as very, very unfortunate that a country that ranks sixth in the production of oil cannot refine for local consumption. It's madness. It just tells you that we have lost it.
and all of that. If you put all of this side by side and then you begin to ask yourself, does President Tinubu have what it takes to actually sustain Nigeria so that we don't get to the point of Niger Republic? Because that's the bottom line of what the stakeholders were talking about over the weekend.
Okay, thank you very much. I think first let's look at the intention of President Muhammadu Buhari. Thinking of the Tinubu, I don't know why I keep remembering Buhari.
You're not alone on that.
Let's just ask ourselves, why did Bola Ahmed Tinubu decide to be Nigerian next president? I think if you look at it from why Buhari was the president, it's also not far different. I don't think there's any big difference between why Buhari became the president and why Tinubu has become the president. I think their interest wasn't just for governance. I think their interest was not just to liberate Nigerians from as a dying country to a live country. I think it was not meant to redeem the image of Nigeria before the global world or to the international community. I don't think so. Because if it were for the purpose of redeeming the image of Nigeria, to gain a status quo or to become the beacon of hope that it is seen, I'm quite sure the level they are taking today will not be the stage that we are right now. Because how do former president became president? Because he wanted to become a civilian president after being a military head of state. He wanted to die as a civilian former president and a former military head of state. That was just his reason why he became the president, because he never had anything to offer. There was nothing I can actually say good about former President Muhammadu Buhari, except the only thing I would have recorded for him was the implementation of the clean-up exercise in Ogoniland that he has not been able to see through successfully. That's the only thing I would have given to him, because that was the only thing that the people of this side would have considered that he did to the people of the South. But outside that, what else can we record that President Muhammadu Buhari, the former president, did? Now come to look at Tinubu, because there is no competition, because they don't have any competitive system of governance. That is why Tinubu himself too is not seeing the former administration as something he can do better than, because he's seeing like, oh, the former one was a dead one, so this one can also die after all. Nobody's complaining. The previous one we didn't complain, so he has this belief that we're not going to complain about this second one, and that's why he is following the footsteps of the former one. If not, why would a president come out and then say it is because it was your turn, you've successfully became your turn, now you've gone home to just think of how to lobby? A president that come out to tell Rivers people that if you want something from me, come and lobby me. If you can imagine the statement coming out from a president, a sitting president, telling the former governor of Rivers State, yes, when he came to commission one project they said they did in Rivers State, and the next thing he said was, if we can't want anything from him, come and lobby me. Now Wike has used Rivers State resources to lobby to be a minister, and he has actually become a minister.
No. Oscar, hold on.
Let me.
Oscar, hold on.
People say you should come and lobby him now.
Oscar, breathe. Okay, breathe. Okay, now let me. Oscar.
No, but that was what people said now.
No. Lobbying does not mean that there has to be financial inducement. Lobbying does not mean that you bring money. I pay you money to lobby you. When you say you should lobby him, of course, lobbying can come from any other form. Okay. I can come and ask you, make a request to you. Okay. I can ask your wife to talk to you. Okay. I can ask your friends or our friends to talk to you. That is lobby.
Okay, bro. Let me
so you cannot, because you are alleging. That is you're alleging because you are not there. You didn't see any money that the former governor gave. And meanwhile, let me also tell you that these two guys have been friends, political friends before now. And so don't, even if he said that you should come and lobby him, don't take that.
Let me ask you a question. Let me assume that you are a lecturer in a school, and then I am your student. Now, and then you are actually lecturing me to pass a course. Yes. And then I failed a course.
You failed.
Yes, and I failed a course.
Yes.
And I want you to pass me in that course. Will you pass me?
I won't.
Okay, let me bring.
But that's not the case here.
Sorry.
Okay, now let me.
But that's not the case between Tinubu and Wike.
Let me control my topic.
But here is where I'm going to, Oscar.
I won't.
Oscar, hold on. Here is where I'm going to. Yes, Tinubu did say, you want something, come lobby me. Lobbying is a political language.
No.
And the former go, stop smiling. I'm telling you what.
But that's correct now. Lobbying is political language.
Yes. And then these are politicians speaking.
Yes.
You want something, come get it. But you got to lobby me.
You have to lobby me.
You can't say the money. He's no longer the governor of the state.
The lobbying,
use the money of the state to lobby.
You know, in lobbying, you can come and ask your friend, I want this. Your friend says, okay, give me this. I'll give you this. Or Rob. You know,
I am not saying.
No, what I'm trying to say is that there's no monetary inducement.
Okay. Let me say why.
And meanwhile, there have been political friends all these years.
Let me now tell you why I said this.
Okay. Yes.
Now I want to believe that we are backward, even at the local government level. In terms of governance, we are backward.
What would you
at
say
the state,
that?
we are backward in terms of delivering the dividends of democracy to the common people in the community level. We are backward. Now, going forward, I also want to look at the fact that if Nigerians, our leaders ahead of us, we are thinking of what you have to offer, what can you give to the country as a source or as a reason why you should be appointed into political positions, it will be much better. If our youth have not sold their right art and have not given themselves in terms of political slavery or mental slavery, and then allowed the so-called politicians to come and infect them with the dubious or corrupt system of politicking, I'm quite sure we at the grassroots level will not vote in this current leadership, because it is also obvious that the fuel subsidy removal is not affecting just one sector. It is affecting even those that collected $100 to vote, affecting even those that collected 10,000 naira to vote. We are all affected. But if we think that the future is important to us and that we need a better future, you will also be very careful about who you vote into power and who you cast your vote for. Currently, I don't see any reason. I also am one of those persons that think Nigeria should remain in terms of one Nigerian. But considering what we are passing through today and the scenario playing out, I can boldly tell you that see this one Nigeria mentality, I'm out of it. I'm out of it totally. Why am I out of this one Nigeria mentality? Now come to this side of the South region. The CSRO of those companies that was supposed to be delivered to the people that they get something from, are they delivering on their CSRO? Zero. No, the answer is no. Now look at it from this perspective too. The government in power, did they also deliver the dividends of democracy to those that voted them into power? The answer is no. Now where do I blame our voters or electorate, which the youth belongs to? Now the youth as well has also failed to look at the credibility of leadership before they can cast their vote for who they are voting for. That's where we are failing as the electorate. Now, coming to the resources that comes to Nigeria. Now go to Abuja, you will miss your way in Abuja. Go to the north, you will miss your way. If you take the wrong route in Abuja, you take the wrong route in the north, you will not know where you find yourself in another state, because of how good and how the kind of quality roads they have and the level of dualized roads they have. Now come to the Eleme Road, where we have the major resources coming from Eleme Road. What do we have from the Eleme Road? Talking about unity in Nigeria, talking about how we can reunite. How do we reunite? Well, as we speak today, the Northerners are seeing themselves as the only political leaders that we can have in Nigeria, when the Yoruba are seeing themselves as the second. Is that supposed to be the case? The case of unity should be that yes, the Northerners are using their resources. They are not sharing their resources as an income to the Nigeria currency. They are not using it. It is only the resources that come from the Niger Delta, resources that come from the South that is being used to run Nigeria, that is being used to develop even the North and Abuja. It is being used to develop even our individuals that are called themselves leadership. Okay, now why do you talk about unity? Talking about the situation with the Sea Dog, the Barracuda deck. Now calling for unity at this point now, I think is a failed word, because we are not interested in unity right now. What we are interested in is that now bring everybody to the table. Tell us this what belongs to the South region, this what belongs to the Southwest, this what belongs to the East, this what belongs. Let everybody have equal right and responsibility. Now the position that is being shared today, you look at tribalism and ethnic as the reason why you are appointing a chief of staff, the reason why you are appointing a minister. That is the reason. Is it based on unity in Nigeria? That's not based on unity. When you want to give out your position, your portfolios, you don't think of unity. When you want to collect what belongs to other people, you don't think of unity. But when you have done all of this and you see that you want to, there is challenge coming in, the people are becoming provocative about your actions, you will talk about unity to calm the mind of the people down. Why are you calming the people down with the word unity? The word unity is not helping us. I am starving right now. I am facing hardship.
as well as other people in the community. We are facing hardship.
Oscar, you can't say you're looking like this and you're facing hardship.
Why will you say, don't I live in the village? I live in the village, I'm a farmer. So you cannot say
that means you have something to do.
A farmer is not a poor man.
No,
it doesn't mean that.
What if I'm a peasant farmer? I'm talking about a farmer.
The most important thing that you don't look it. You don't look it. You are well fed.
I'm not supposed to look.
You are well fed.
Yes, you're not
well fed. You are not among those people that need this.
I said, Professor, I said,
that is on the light
side.
Every one of us we are facing hardship. No, we are all of us are facing hardship. We are all facing hardship. To buy fuel to come to this station, it's not an easy one. Of course, you know it. Why will you not say so?
Sorry, let's look at something.
Of course, you are aware that the strike we went for last year, we have not been paid up till now, and our salary, everything is being so we are worst affected.
Why do we talk about unity?
We are worst affected. So the point is not for us to divide. No, the best.
So divide.
No.
Are you not calling for military regime?
No, the best is not to divide.
Divide.
No.
Okay, what do you think would be a way out?
The best is not in division, because when we come together, we can surmount every challenge. When we divide,
but are we not together now?
No, let's continue to forge ahead to come up with better ways.
Asking, what are we forging ahead on?
To correct the mistakes of the past.
No. There has to be a common ground. What is a common ground to forge ahead?
The common ground is that we are Nigerians.
We have always
and all those who have caused this problem are all Nigerians, both from the north and the south. Our people are not out of it.
Yeah. That's correct. So
those who are from south, you cannot remove them from this crisis.
See, Prof, do you know that? Can you believe that when the military took over in Niger, the Nigerians they were celebrating, super excited.
Yes, that's correct.
So what it means is that they didn't actually want the democratic regime. And as we speak, we learned that from pillars around social media, Wagner and Co are going to help these people. They are going to help them, the military. Why the African Union are saying no? ECOWAS is saying no. So if all of this come crashing, these people are just our neighbor here.
Yes.
So what should we be looking at lessons? That's what he's saying. What lessons should we be building on right now in order to avert whatever may be coming when it comes to military takeover?
As it is right now, we want the government to begin to roll out policies that will reduce the suffering of the people.
All right, thank you very much, Prof. We'll have to let Oscar go. Oscar needs to run. We'll have to let him go. But we'll come back to you with Prof after the break. Stay with us.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you.
Nigerian people. Mr. President, my people are under siege.
I will place economic stability and confidence.
To condemn this act and call for the immediate release of this minister in the Temple of Justice.
Give us access to our money we put in the bank.
The POS operator, she said 50,000 naira is 1,000 to collect 3,000 naira. Where are we heading to?
I've always said there are two sets of people on earth, the oppressors and the oppressed. And in between are the cowards and the hypocrites. Which are you?
No matter how tough the challenge, how high the obstacles, we always overcome.
What Nigerians need now is not about the Tonte. Who can come and salvage us from where we are?
All right, welcome back to 8 Years Open Conversation. Let's get on with the rest of the story. The Confederation of all APC support groups said only God can unseat President Bola Tinubu as Nigeria's president. The group in a press conference in Kaduna State on Sunday organized in response to the criticism of the last presidential election by the Catholic Archbishop Emeritus of Abuja, His Eminence Cardinal John Onayinka. The group Director General Muhammad Kialani noted that Onayinka was reported to have said that President Tinubu is not yet Nigeria's president until the Presidential Election Petition Tribunal says so. Kailani, said the arrest of the cleric called for the arrest of the cleric, wondering why Onayinka, who should be preaching love and peace, suddenly turned to an agent to destabilize his dear country in Nigeria. Kelani said, we woke up to yesterday that is and saw on social media that those who are supposed to bring unity and diversity in this country are the ones trying to bring war. They are the ones trying to bring crisis. We don't expect Archbishop John Onayinka to say that Tinubu is not yet Nigeria's president. He said the election is not yet over and that we don't have a president until the court said so. Well, we thought this man is a Yoruba man and our president Ahmed Bola Tinubu is a Yoruba man, but he is castigating him. During the election, more than 80% of the Yorubas didn't vote for him, even the Afenifere. The likes of Pastor Tunde Bakere, Chief Bode George, and the rest of them, they said that they don't want him. We brought this president. Nobody can remove him. Only God can remove him. We have voted. Nigerians have spoken on the 25th of February 2023. We are calling on all Nigerians not to support this move. Finally, we are calling on Archbishop Onayinka to come and join us in politics. Let him leave the pulpits there. He should join us to see how we play politics in this country, but not in his house where he's been comfortable and where people are using him to destabilize us. We will not take it lightly. We are watching. Okay? All right? Okay. Now, what I find interesting is when he drew the line of tribe here, when he said Yorubas, 80% of Yorubas didn't vote for him and all of that. You're trying to give this president a clean front. He is a president, and legitimately so, according to you. In as much as the matter is in court, by Tuesday, there will be a decision taken on when the judgment will be given and all of that. The question then is, Afenifere too came out over the weekend to say, hey, we don't know what you are doing, but you're President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Now, the question I asked earlier that Oscar didn't really address, I want to bring it back to you. I'm kind of tempted to feel somewhat of pity for President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. There is so much going on around him right now. Even imagine Archbishop Onayinka is Yoruba, like they said. You have Afenifere on one side. You have everybody dragging him from one side. And of course, his battle with the African ECOWAS position with Niger and what have you. Do you think President Bola Ahmed Tinubu have the wherewithal to actually withstand this pressure and come out looking rosy at the end?
Of course, if you look at the history of the man we're talking about, the president, that tells you that he's not perturbed. If the Yorubas did not vote him, but he became the president, whatever Onayinka is saying does not change anything, will not affect him in any way. That is freedom of speech. You can say anything. Everybody is free to express whatever you feel, you know, but not to say that will have any implications in his ability, capacity to deliver as a sitting president. That has no issue. For me, that response is not necessary, because for him to say that he's not yet a president until the court says so, that comment need not to be responded to, because according to the Constitution, he has, it's proven that he won, you know, he had majority of the votes for which he was declared president, and he was sworn in constitutionally. And so for Oneka to say that he's not yet a president until after the court have said so, well, for me, there's no need to respond to that. Now let's watch what the tribunals will say. But that, you know, when we had this discussion sometimes last week, when he was made the chairman of ECOWAS, I told you that that for me there would have been need for him to stabilize, you know, coming out from election, and maybe at the end of the tribunal, when the tribunal have, you know, actually given him that legitimacy to be Nigeria's president, so that he cannot begin to take international roles, you know, and responsibilities, and that would not be too good for him, because there's so much for him in Nigeria as a sitting president who has come at a time when Nigeria needs serious economic reforms. And this other problem is coming from the ECOWAS region. Of course, you know, America has asked him to intervene and all of that to restore democratic norms and tradition in Niger. And look at what is battling at home and all of that. So for me, it's too hectic. It's going to be too hectic for him to handle. He's battling with legitimacy issues with the tribunal. He's also battling with, you know, the politics in the region, in the ECOWAS region. Insecurity, you know, insecurity, even in Nigeria and all over the place. But for me, he has the instruments of government, you know, at his disposal, and he can always, you know, administer, you know, accordingly. I'm not perturbed that he's going to bother him so much, all these public statements. For me, it's not everything people say that we must respond to. For him to say it's only God, is it God going to come from heaven and use his son to do it? No. If the facts before the tribunal does not show that he won the election, the tribunal can remove him as a sitting president.
So, but God can direct the tribunal to remove him.
How will God direct? God? No, you know, people are using God.
No, they said they gave him power. They are the ones. It's not Nigerians, though. It is this.
No, it's wrong. It's wrong. That's why I said it's not every comment we must respond to. For one to say that we gave him, who is he to give power?
So now, but
after all, the scripture even says that it's God that gives power using people.
Okay, good. Now let's even quickly analyze that, so we can. There are other things we need. A very interesting conversation. So can we now deduce from them, these power holders that gave Tinubu power and not 200 million Nigerians now? Can we now say that since they are the ones that gave, not God, that they gave, they are not asking God that His only has power to remove him? Can we now, you know, we like to pray in this country? Can we now pray and say, Father Lord, in Nnamdi's voice? Can we now say, please unseat this man? Unseat this man, because this group said, because I'm trying to make, Nigeria is a multi-ethnic society, a super religious society. The way you put your mouths, and with the political tension that is across board, the level of insensitivity don't matter. You matter because you're within the APC and you made him president.
It's very, very unfortunate that this is coming from this group. For you to say that we have given him power. You are not the one who gave this power. Nigerians from them. And for me, let's watch and see what the tribunals, you know, will do. Let the facts are before the tribunal. Let us watch and see what they will do. And whatever decision of the court, that'll be final.
Yeah, and that will be God has spoken, I guess. But no. Okay. Now, let's look at issue around council formation. So the Labour Party said it is seeking the legal implications of President Bola Tinubu's decision to send ministerial nominees to the National Assembly in piecemeals, while denying about 10 states of the ministerial presence when council is formed, is convened. The party, in a statement signed by the spokesman, Pastor Obiora Ifo, said the list is just a huge disappointment of Nigerians' expectation for a performing team. He said Labour Party will therefore, in the days ahead, seek proper legal counsel on the legality of otherwise of a piecemeal submission of the ministerial list as against the submission of the full list as envisaged by the Electoral Act. He said about 10 states would not have representative in the Federal Executive Council meeting when it is convened. He said no state in Nigeria should be made to suffer for the ill preparedness and incongruous attitude of this government. Ifo said it is therefore pertinent for us to put on record that the expectations of Nigerians were completely shattered. Well, he went on to say that Nigerians expected more quality, character, dynamic and results-oriented Nigerians to be on that list result-oriented Nigerians to be on that list. But what we saw is a recycling of some failed, clueless politicians who have contributed to bringing Nigeria to its parlous condition. The party maintained that some of these nominees played prominent anti-democratic roles in the previous administration, particularly since 2015, which saw the APC government fail in all its promises to Nigerians. Obiora went on to say that we also saw prebendal politics in full swing there, where mainly the cronies and lackeys of the APC national leader were selected for the reward for servitude and blind discipleship. The list does not in any way reflect the enormous reservoir of talents, potentials, and resources Nigeria is known for. It still baffles us, as the Labour Party is saying, to why this government ignored the youthful and technocratic potentials that abound, but rather chose to appoint spent forces that have failed Nigeria in the past. Let's stop there. I saw a relatively young lady, particularly, who is a lawyer. I can't remember her name particularly, but that's supposed to be a youth. I mean, it's missing something. But let's leave that and come to the core issue, if you may. 10 states. Well, when the Executive Council is formed, it's not going to be represented. And ministerial nominees kicks off today, by the way. Let's start with the absence of these 10 states as being alleged by the Labour Party that will not be on the first Executive Council when it's formed. What are the possibilities that the President can actually send more lists as screening will take place before the Executive Council is formed?
Yeah, well, for me, let's not preempt the President. Of course, he knows the constitutional provision of the Constitution of the Executive Council, where all the states must be represented. And now that it's remaining 10 states, anything can happen. What we are just experiencing now, what is going to happen today is the screening, not actually the inauguration of the FEC, you know. So before the constitution of the FEC, he may send in more lists. And so let us not conclude to say that the other 10 states have been left behind and nothing's going to happen about them. Of course, constitutionally, they ought to be members of the Federal Executive Council when it will be constituted. So for now, let's watch to see what anything can happen before, you know, the end of the nomination of those who have already been submitted.
I also want to ask, is this the first time that what they call piecemeal, that the President had sent a first batch of lists and then supplementary lists to follow? Because Femi Gbajabiamila did say that there's going to be a B list or what you call supplementary list to make up for the state. He even said that the President is also thinking of breaking down some ministries.
That has been done already.
Yeah, yes. and all of that. So yes. Where is this? When the Labour Party takes this position, where could it be coming from?
Of course, you know, the Labour Party is an opposition party right now. They're also in court.
Yeah.
You know, so there's nothing good they will say about the current administration. There's nothing good they will say about. They will continue to criticize, of course, as an opposition party, as it were, you know, to this government. But Gbajabiamila has said that there are going to be another list. Let's give them the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah, he said they're expecting 13 more lists.
Yes, so
and that the new ministries
and the new ministries have been created. Yes. So many have been merged. There's a lot of reformation around the ministries and all of that. I'm thinking that when they are done with this ministries merging and all of that, they're going to have the exact number of ministers to man these ministries. I think that is what they are doing. But to say that some states will be left out, I'm not sure. I'm not sure, because they are creating more ministries and merging some for effective delivery, you know, as they have said. You know, yes. So
but there's something about the presidential the ministerial list that we as Nigerians will still find curious. I did ask that question in the first in ATN blowout, but these people are coming to work. These ministers, nominees, they're coming to work. Why do we have them every time being screened? Being screened without actual portfolios. Now, here is why we ask. Nigeria right now, as the former group we discussed during the CDOC, the National Orientation Agency man talked about Nigeria being
need political reforms.
Yes, needs political reforms and all of that. Another group said that Nigeria is at the brink of collapse right now. So if you look at all of this conversation in the news and issues going on in Nigeria, and then you ask yourself, the Labour Party was talking about technocrats. Technocrats are people who are defined in their field and have made some good known success, good progress, and all of that. So if we are talking about delivering as expected, why do we still send in minister nominees without actual portfolios?
Well,
what is the impact of this to Nigeria as it presently is?
You know, without the portfolios, I think it's not the best for us, because what are we screening them for? If they have portfolios attached to their office, during the screening, you can ask questions pertaining to that thematic area where they're supposed to administer, to know if they have good knowledge of what to do when they get to the office, you know, as ministers. So not attaching portfolios is still keeping us Nigerians in suspense. And I'm wondering what the senators are going to ask, you know, in during the screening section. You know, are they going to ask them general questions, or are they going to ask them specific questions relating to what? So the question is, what are they going to ask them? Are they going to ask them to recite the national anthem? They're going to ask them to recite, you know, some verses of paragraphs of the pledge, the pledge to Nigeria. What are they going to ask them?
Exactly.
Because if you don't, there's no office attached to their names. What is the question that you ask them?
Yeah,
are you going to ask them general questions?
We have always done this, and then in a few months' time, we start blaming the ministers for not
performing, because they are not good in the area that they have sent them to. And for me, if after the screening they can recommend, the Senate can recommend to the president, this person you have assigned to this office is not going to be good here.
Yes.
This person is better in this, you know, office.
Yes.
But I don't know if at the end of the day the president can still make those adjustments if the law permits him to make those adjustments at the end of the day.
Don't you think I'm appointed a minister, no portfolio is given to me, and then you're asking me a question? My educational qualification is in public domain. My age is in public domain. Whatever I've done all my life is in public domain. What exactly are you going to screen me for, as a matter of fact? If you're going to ask me the same questions we already have, we already know, what is the essence?
I don't know. That is where we're having a problem now. We don't know what. We will watch the screening. Let me know. Let's see what questions will be asked the ministers.
Do you have any expectation of anything being different than what is?
There's something. Some people will bow and go away.
Yeah.
Take a bow. That's what we normally see. And without proper screening, without properly knowing the stuff in this guy, so that we know where they can perform very, very well. Somebody who maybe is a lawyer, you begin to ask the person about agriculture.
Yeah.
What are you going to do with that?
So looking at status quo being maintained when it comes to ministerial screening, should we really have any expectation that this crop of individuals can actually deliver?
One thing I feel, maybe they look at their CVs.
And the areas that's what I'm saying, these CVs are already in public domain.
Yeah, so they will ask them questions from their areas of expertise, perhaps. Maybe that will be the reason for the appointment. Yeah, because some of them have clear records in specific areas, and we feel that those are the areas they will actually be sent to administer. Yeah.
So the Senate is now going to be doing the job of asking questions specifically on their given fields. Is that what you're trying to say?
That's what I'm trying to say, because there's no template. There's nothing that is too clear that will form the basis for the screening. So perhaps that responsibility will be given to Senate.
60 days. A lot of people are saying it's actually too long, that at the point where you were declared president, you should already have a list of people you're going to work with. So when you come in, you should submit this, because people are saying that the time given to the National Assembly for the screen is also limited. Because you've exhausted the 60 days and now they now have to like rush through and do the normal bar and go. So do you agree with the conversation or the line of thoughts that there is need for Nigerians to navigate through this 60 days drama that just came up, but ensure that in the first 5 days of coming into office, announcements so that the National Assembly can have time to truly dig into? Do you abide that line of thought?
Yes, I agree that this list should be submitted early enough. It goes to show that, as you know, some people vie for offices when they are not prepared. But there's a saying that he was already prepared. I've said in several quarters that he was prepared.
That's also part of the argument that Labour Party is bringing.
That they say they are prepared.
The people seen in the list doesn't have what it takes.
No, I don't go there. Don't go there. No, it's not true. That one is not true.
Okay.
Because we have technocrats there. We have people who are performed excellently well in their areas of endeavor. They are all there. So for them to say that the Nigerians are disappointed. They are disappointed, not we Nigerians. That is their perception. Yes, about the list. But other Nigerians have also said that people who are there have been tested and proven, you know, to be people that can deliver, you know, on any tax given to them. You know, so for me that is it. But this list would have been submitted earlier enough to allow National Assembly do the screening. Just like you said, these are people that we already know.
Yeah. But what do you want to say about?
So what do you want to ask them?
For instance, that I don't already know as in public domain.
So what are you going to ask him?
Or El Rufai.
So these are people who know how to, you know, handle issues and trade issues, national issues, and all of that. So they are good. They are eggheads. You know, all of them that were appointed have excellently, you know, performed so well. You know, before now, their credentials are there, and all of that. So for me, the list submitted is not a failure. It's not a failure. You know?
All right.
Yeah.
We hope that the president can fix for what needs to be fixed for the 10 or the new 13 positions so that everyone can be carried along. That is. In a notice sent to the parties inviting them to adopt their written address with respect to the petition lodged against President Tinubu by the former vice president and candidate of the People's Democratic Party, the PDP, by the candidate of the Labour Party, Mr. Peter Obi. Now, you recall that all the respondents in their respective written addresses urged the court to dismiss all the petitions for want of merit. They argued that the petitioners were unable to discharge the burden of proof allegedly placed on them by the law. Well, the respondents, whereas the petitions raised allegations that had elements of crime in them, they, however, failed to prove them beyond reasonable doubt as required by the law. This according to the APC and INEC. Well, President Tinubu then urged the court to hold that he was validly returned as winner of the election by the INEC. When I listen to the APC and INEC's argument on this ongoing presidential election petition tribunal, in my head, I'm always like, at the court, why does it look like they're taking a position? Well, so a lawyer did say that they have a right to do that, but
yes,
I'd like to bring you in here to tell us maybe what are we expecting tomorrow? What do you expect is going to happen?
Well, you know, their point, what they are requesting the court to do, they are failed to prove that beyond reasonable doubt. Of course, the lawyers are not magicians. The judges are not magicians. Sorry. So it's what you bring before them that they will work on, and you must prove it beyond reasonable doubt. You know that what you are saying is the correct thing, and so if it is not there, if you cannot prove your case, you know, validly, empirically verified, then there's nothing anybody can do about it. Because if you are saying that B is black, you must be able to prove it that the B is black. You must provide everything that says that it is black for them to rule. You know, so for me, I don't want to preempt what the judges will say, but the point is that the two parties, those who are, you know, the respondents and those who are also challenging the victory of Ahmed Tinubu, you know, they have the cases to present to the judges, and it's left for the judges to look at what have been presented, even when some of them are criminal in some instances. So they will look at the points of law regarding those presentations and also take a decision. And whether, because Tinubu will continue to ask the court to declare that he is the winner of the election, and so that he will remain the president. That is what he will continue to say.
There is this concern that a lot of people have when it comes to, a lot of people say they don't have a problem with the appeal court. They know that they are going to sack President Tinubu, quote and unquote.
That they will sack President Tinubu.
Yeah, that's a lot of tribunal. Yeah, yes. That they're going to at the appeal level, but they know that when it gets to the Supreme Court will just say, okay, let's save Nigeria because of the peace of Nigeria, to put Nigeria together, or maybe use a technical issue and all of that. Given the instances that the power people concerned that Nigerians feel towards the outcome of the presidential election court, tomorrow they decide they take adopt their final addresses, and then now it's not left for the appeal to determine what their own judgment is going to be. Do you think that we're going to get into a squabble in between what the appeal thinks it is and what the Supreme Court thinks it is?
For me, I don't want to jump to begin to discuss what's going to happen in the appeal and what's going to happen in the Supreme Court.
But do you see a squabble?
For me, there is no problem.
Okay.
Now, I don't also subscribe to the point that what some persons are saying is the truth. No. Now, if what people are saying like you have said, that their mandate was stolen and all of that, prove it in the court of law. That is the essence of going to the tribunal. It's not when 2, 3, 4, 5 people are talking, they say Nigerians have spoken. It's not true. They're only speaking from their own perspective, what they understand, or what they know. And what they know may not be the correct thing. But if you can present your facts before the court, and the court takes decision on it, and even if you appeal with the same facts, of course, facts speak for themselves. And nobody can close facts. You cannot sustain people, who have valid facts for what they are saying, because the truth will continue to prevail in all cases. So for me, I don't have any issue with decision that will be taken from the tribunal, what's going to happen in an appeal, what's going to happen in Supreme Court. Of course, whatever the Supreme Court says is final. Nobody can. At
the end of the day.
That's correct.
Well, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is set to address Nigerians in a live broadcast by 7 p.m. today, Monday, July 31st, 2023. Now, this was revealed in a statement by the Special Advisor on Special Duties, Communication and Strategy, Dele Alake, dated Sunday, July 30th. The statement said President Bola Ahmed Tinubu will make the broadcast to the nation on Monday today, July 31st, 2023 at 7 p.m. He said television, radio stations and other electronic media outlets are enjoined to hook up to the network services of the Nigerian Television Authority and Radio Nigeria for the broadcast. All right. Let's really look at this. 7 p.m. today, we are all going to speak on our TV to expect the president to speak. What do you think we're expecting from this live broadcast?
Yeah, it's timely, if you ask me, for him to address this country, because Nigerians are suffering. We want him to address the issue of the subsidy removal, how Nigerians can come out from this suffering, how Nigerians can heave a sigh of relief. We want to hear what are the policies that he's going to put on ground so that this suffering will stop. We're expecting that. 2, arising from subsidy removal, and that has affected economic, indices and other, factors of well-being. We want to see how that will be done. 2, we also want to see, what is going to say about refining local products. I mean, our crude. How are we? Because he said that the palliatives are not solutions in themselves. So the palliatives, just as it is defined, is just a temporary measure to suit the effect, the negative effect of a thing. Temporary. That does not mean it's going to be permanent. And so even if we talk, because me youths, when they visited him, that palliative is just a temporary, he's looking at permanent solution. I'm thinking that this broadcast will reveal to us permanent solution, to this, problem we're having in this country. 2 or 3 that earn 20, 25,000 in a month, 30,000 in a month, they can't go to work anymore.
Even people who earn higher.
I'm coming. I'm coming. I mean, I'm starting from there.
Okay.
They can't even go to work. Again, some have been sacked. Why those who are earning higher cannot go to work 5 times in a week? They can go to once or twice in a week. Because if you buy fuel 5,000, 6,000 every day, and nothing has happened about the salary. So we want to see if there's going to be any increase, any adjustment in worker salary. These are the 3rd thing we should be expecting, as a temporary measure, pending when the permanent, solution will be arrived at. And 4, we want to see how the insecurity in Nigeria will be handled. And I'm not sure we're going to talk about Mali because we're talking about local problems here. Mali problem is not our problem for now. Our own is too much.
But our president is right on the Niger issue.
Yes, so we're not going to address it not on Niger. He has addressed the AU ECOWAS head of states, I think yesterday or the day before yesterday. So we're going to look at least 4 or 5 issues that are very, very important to this country, and strengthen our military, to ensure that whatever is happening in Niger do not penetrate here. So there has to, because that may come in, you know, maybe in-house.
So
because security issues may not, you know, be brought to the fore. Would be the best thing to do. Political solution,
not basically saying he's going to give political. So see, people are expecting you to have a human face.
Yeah.
A lot is playing out in this region, and
Yes.
see, do you know that on Mondays you cannot travel from Abia into Port Harcourt? You cannot travel from any southeastern into other states, as a matter of fact. So I think I had a number is